rhomboid table, not round, or square, or triangle. We come to hang and chat like a gang on Fridays as we're able. We play well here in Camelot, we are chums and fun, but tell a lot. We're Knights of the Rhomboid table, our host is formidable. He runs his trains, talks insane, but sure he's quite unstable. He's hobby mad in Camelot, but seems never to have done a lot. Quite incomprehensible, blue wrenching, and we have no plan but to sit and hear Dodge babble. It's a lazy time in Camelot.
I have to shake my bum a lot.
This channel is a not-so-proud member of YouTube's all-encompassing special society of heavily overwhelmed layout enthusiasts. Check any railway show, check any railway club, check any layout, check your own house. You'll find one of us somewhere. Warning, the content of this stream is not suitable for children under the age of 16. The topic, language, themes, attitude, and personality of the presenter is not appropriate for anyone, much less children under the age of 16. Topics discussed will not center on trains and will focus on anything except politics. It just happens trains are running. Any similarity between characters, situations, trains, and intelligent thoughts is strictly a coincidence. Any rebroadcast or transmission of the stream without the expressed written consent of Major League Baseball is strictly prohibited. Viewer discretion is advised. Remember the 3 rules for model train layouts and pretty much anything. It's your layout, do what you want as you want. Do not tell someone else what to do unless they ask you directly what they should do. Do not call out, mock, criticize, or insult another channel on your channel or anyone else's channel. Thank you for your cooperation.
And see it, you'll love it, and it's all done in the best possible way.
Hey everybody, welcome to the great feast hall known as my basement. Fellow knights of the rhomboid table, hope you are all well. Lords and ladies all, great to have you here once again on this Friday. Let's go straight to the list and see who has shown up. We have Andy of 81E, welcome in. We have Sir Brian of Clintonville Model Railroad, Sir Andy, of course, Sir Colin of Wyke, Sir Greg from Great Northern 70, Sir Ivo Fanzon, Sir Jean of Ricard. We have Sir Andrew from March West Junction, TMD. We have, if she doesn't mind me saying so, Lady Mara King, or you can be Sarah with all the other knights, whatever you prefer. We have Sir Mick 92, the Royal Barkeep says the bar is open. I believe I just saw Sir Andy, the hot dog pilot, popped on my screen. We've got CMD Models has popped up on my screen. Sir Ray Bobel is here. Sir Reg, I'm going to say, of GFX. Sir Christopher of currently Sakura Densha. We have Sir Dirk of Southern Cross Rail System. We have Sir Tim of Dowd, the CEO of the Knights of the Rhomboid Table. We have Sir Tom Couples, our Sergeant at Arms. We have Sir Tom Houston, Model Rail. We have Sir Chris of the Valleys, and we have Sir Eric of Von Don Eisenbahn, and Sir Titi Ari has just arrived. So we would say, ça va? Comment ça va? And that is everybody currently on my list. Just to throw it out there, we had a last minute change on the running as I was testing things before I went live stream. One of my locomotives blew a traction tire, and I happily was fixing it. And it was, one of the drive arms or drive rods, the little microscopic little hexagon bolt that goes in to hold the drive bar to the wheel. I managed to send it flying, and I tried to listen to where it landed. It landed somewhere back here, it sounded like. And I got my big magnet out, and I have been going over that floor, and I can't find the damn thing. So, unfortunately, until I can find a replacement bolt, that little E36 unit won't be running, just to aggravate me. I mean, I'm really ready to put a fist on the wall. Just microscopic screw. I'm using my little micro wrench and socket and trying to undo it, pull it out, get the tire on, and it's the last stupid bolt I'm putting back in. Last bolt I'm putting in, and as I go to put it in place, boing, dum, 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 dum. Man, that thing bounced like it was made of fucking flubber. Oh well. So sorry about that. So did I just see Sir Randall of Ellison has just popped in? Sir Clive of Newland Railway is here. Nice to have you all here. I didn't know how big a crowd we have. Over at Scott Rail, Dave is having a big birthday marathon live stream, which he started about an hour or so ago. So if I bore you and don't interest you, you can always hop over there and get entertained by him. But that's the situation we're at. But no, this is microscopic, super tiny. This is one of the tiniest screws I've ever pulled out of anything. I'll just have to see what Märklin says is the correct screw and order a bag. And I've got 5 friends I know that are going, well, that's why you should get spare parts. Well, you don't know what spare parts to buy until you need one. So there it is. Let's see, anybody else popping in? So anyhow, otherwise, the only other event is earlier in the week, I did put some more scenery down. I'm going in levels, so I'm getting a basic ground cover level. And I probably do more than I need to do, but it's just how I am. I put a brown scatter. A lot of people just put the grass, you paint the ground brown or green, and then you put the grass on that. And a lot of people will go straight to the static grass. I put a layer of brown scatter down, very fine. Basically, it's fine ballast. It's a 60-40 mix of light brown from Woodland Scenics and dark brown. About a 60-40 mix, and then I do add a little bit of black and some other random things like neutral earth color and mix it in, and I just do it till I get it to about where I want it, and it looks like brown ground. I'm very happy with it. And then on top of that, I put green scatter, and then I'll eventually go back and put some static grass, but I'm not going to really do heavy static grass because I want it to be sporadic and weedy in many of these places, because that's what it's like between rails running. And if it's not ultra realistic, I'm not worried about that. I'm already enjoying where it's at. I mean, once I get this ground cover everywhere, I could be like, yeah, that's good enough. I'm happy. But that's where it's at. So anyhow, well, welcome Sir Davy from Isambard Kingdom. You like the shirt? Thanks. That's my baseball jersey version. And Sir Kyle Stevens here. So I think I have greeted everybody. So let's go back and I'll put the chat here so I'm not looking over there. Anyhow, so that's it. Things have taken a little longer to dry than normal, and I think that's partly because my sealing glue, my top glue, I think it's separated. I shake it up before I use it, but I noticed that it was really wet and there was a huge clump of white glue in there, so it didn't mix properly, or it's separated, which it can do over time, but I always shake them up nice and hard. But yeah, it took things a little longer because basically it was like 80% water, 20% glue. But everything seems to be dry now, and test runs, other than blowing a traction tire, we're going great. So, and having said that, I've jinxed it all. All right, so let's go to the 11-lane view and see what I'm running today. I do post the trains I'm running each day or each Friday on the live stream, so if you're always interested and want to see what I'm running that day. But anyhow, today we have an ICE4, the Climate Protection ICE4. So we'll put him into motion. And then I'm running an a Czech EC, a Eurocity, a Czech Eurocity. And that has got a Czech Vectron. Pulling it. Yeah, EFO, and that brings me up to what I did is the only KLVM I have working is the black one, but the shells are the same. So I just popped the black shell off and put the green shell on, and it works. It works. I'm happy enough with it. You know, arrow-wise, it's probably, I don't know, but I don't necessarily go for accuracy with some of that anyhow. Anyhow, in lane 3, we are running a freight train pulled by a Piko, class 181-2. And it's my container freight again. The freight has run 3 straight weeks with 3 different locos, so this will probably be the last week I run it. And then, just because I wanted to throw a little steam up today, I am running the Bavarian Rheingold. So I'm running that guy. And then in lane 5, I am running my Desiro double-decker Deutsche Bahn from Brawa. So let me get to the computer here, because that's where I'm controlling him. Whoops. Hey, what's up, fella? Did you just hit a dead spot? Yeah. Oh, I need to clean the track over there. But this is the area I've done work, and I tried to clean the track, but it's possible I had a speck of glue right at the wrong place, because like I said, it ran in fine. But I really did try to clean the tracks up after I did all the work there. But this is your first time seeing this corner with it all grassed up. I don't know that I had this done last week. Maybe I did. I've done little corners each weekend. And then way in the back, I'm running just this little short KLVM with some Bavarian Era I cars. Again, I wanted to have that really cool EP36, but it blew a traction tire in warm-up. It ran fine on Wednesday when I put it on, but obviously the traction tire was gonna go, and it went like it traveled 5 feet and all of a sudden was sliding. And so I picked it up and saw a traction tire laying right there. And I was like, okay, I just cleaned this area. It must have thrown a traction tire. Checked. Yep, it was missing one of its 2 traction tires. And so sadly, I know like Jean Ricard is one of the people that really loves to see that particular train going. I haven't run it in a while, and I promised I would run it. And I was so intent on running it that I sat here at my work table. I knew I had the right tire. I knew how to take the bars off, you know, the arms off, the drive rods off. And got the traction tire on, no issue. Put the first two bolts in, and the third one, just trying to hold it in place, and put the little hexagon drive on it from my Märklin set, and just combination of hand spasm and sloppy work on my part, I guess, and I just sent it flying, and I heard it land. I was like, okay, I'll use my hearing and listen to where it bounces and get a rough idea where it is, hoping I would find it. Nope. So I'll probably go get a really big magnet and look for it later, but I'll probably have to go online and look at them, or go get the manual and see what screws it has and buy some spare screws. Who says I want to upgrade it? Huh. Yeah, I've actually seen people who do this. I'm not comfortable doing it with the C track because getting in the way of the nubs and that. I'm just going to do like most Germans and just leave the C track. Once I put static grass, I'm not going to worry about it. Hello, SJ. Dicey Sir Raymond of Legs is here. You got the second Lima DEV. And Sir Leslie of Gilpin is here. Hello, Sir Leslie. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I do. That is one of my favorite pieces of stock. It's hard to have favorites because I love pretty much all my stock. Like it all. Love most of it. It's hard to play favorites, but ever since I got that Brawa Desiro there, that's that dual N. Yeah, the classic French T. You're right. Still loads of locos working in the Czech Republic. Indeed. So, hey, Monsville, I liked your video today. Unfortunately, I don't know. A couple of people asked for help. Let's see. There were a couple of things I wanted to shout out, and I can't remember them. I need to write these things down, but stuff comes up in the middle of the week. I believe today is a couple of people's birthday. Today would have been Paul Bottrell's birthday, but sadly he passed away earlier this year after we met him at Getz. I believe it's Grace from Robin Grace, RGJ Trains. It'll be Joyce's birthday in a month. Got a month to go there. The 181 is not liking pulling that stuff up the incline. What's up, dude? Come on. Oh, wrong one, wrong one, wrong one. Hello, Sir Robert. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, we're just 8 months till Christmas. Yeah, we're doing all right. Joyce is finally over, or at least mostly over her very unfriendly illness she had for a couple of weeks here, especially during her spring break, which set us behind a lot of things we wanted to do. Oh, and my apologies to all my UK friends. I didn't start the bottom. On the floor, on the HO00 layout, I am running a 7-car consist. I could add an 8th one, which you might see when this goes by, but it's a... Did I put something in the wrong order? Oh, it unhooked. Hang on. It's going to be that kind of day, people. It's going to be that kind of day. I was like, where's the observation car? Disconnected. Dude! No more of this. I thought you were all connected. I just ran you. You were doing fine. So anyhow, down on the floor, we're running the Mallard with some Teak coaches. Obviously, different companies or different paint schemes. They don't match, but I don't care. Oh my God, it did it again. Ugh. Everything was working in warm-up. Turn the camera on, it all goes sideways. Anyhow, I'm running that Baltimore, Ohio. I finally got all those cars set up where they work. Apparently not. Why do you do me so? How come you do me like you do? Tell me you'll work. Come on, you can do this. I'll just trade. That's the reason I'm not running all the cars, is because two of them are sort of like observation cars. So I decided not to run them both. But same idea. You have that little last, whatever you want. Monsville's taking off. All right, Monsville, take off. The wonders of live streaming. Yeah. I like to think that my live streams are about 70% fairly flawless, and then 20% some issues, and then 10% everything goes wrong. But yeah, that's that American Baltimore, Ohio. But I bought 5 cars, if you may remember, at the Toledo Train Show. I bought 5 that were in various states of crappy. And then I found another one on eBay for $8. And then somebody was selling a 5-car set. Yeah, selling basically the same 5-car set I had. And I bought that on eBay for $35, but they were in... And what I did was I just used pieces from as many as I could. So out of 11 cars I've got 8 that can run. So I basically junked 2 to get 8 running. Uh-oh. All right, I give up. I gotta check out. Both these observation cars are just not working. Why they're not staying coupled, I don't know, but it's annoying as all get out. I know it's a long train, but really. It's still a nice long train. . So 6 cars instead of 8 or whatever. 7 cars instead of 9. Still, that's a nice train. They all have, well, it's whatever the couplers. I had to change out all the couplers. And thanks to Ray Bell here, because half of them had one coupler, the other, well, about half of them had the horn couplers. 3 of them had KD couplers, and 2 of them had no couplers because the whole things were broken. And so I just mixed and matched bogies and everything else, and just kind of, you know, recycle, reuse, however you want to phrase it, repurposed. And like I said, this is the first time I've tried to run them all, and it for whatever reason, these last 2 observation cars, so maybe it's not even the observation car, maybe it's the bogie at the end of the car in front of it. That might be the issue. But I'm not going to investigate it now. Like I said, everything worked in test runs, although these guys only got test run this morning. Just a couple of laps. Okay, everything's good. It's the German stuff I really test run. Still, it worked. I really had no idea how big a crowd I was going to have today because with Dave going live early today for his birthday marathon, I don't know how much of a crossover audience I have with Dave. When I go into Dave's chat, I don't recognize too many people. I usually go to his chat sometime 8:30, 9 o'clock and hang for a bit before I go to bed. But I go to bed relatively early. I'm in bed usually by 10 p.m. Your middle name is Mayhem. Remember, Anthony, it all has to fit the owner. Whatever. DoSto. Uh-oh. Okay, this is just getting silly. We're just gonna keep going. Last car until it all falls. Come on, man. What the hell? I'm starting to think it's... Starting to think it was the car in front of the last car that's the problem, because they uncoupled again. So even though I just took the last one off, this now it uncoupled the So, goodness gracious. I can't buy a break right now. But yeah, that's a beautiful video they got going there, EFO. Sorry about that. I was playing a video that EFO put up and forgot to mute the sound because I'm distracted. It's been a weird week. Not necessarily a bad week, other than Joyce went back to work on Tuesday after having been sick all week during her vacation. So about the time she was feeling better, she had to go back to work. My daughter got called in for jury duty and had to report yesterday. So I wound up having Kyan most of yesterday instead of getting him in the afternoon. He didn't have school yesterday, so I watched him all day. But yeah, I think it is. I think visually it is. I think it pops a little bit more. Yeah, those are. That was rocks. It is. I use some of my old wargaming mix. You know, when you do tabletop wargaming and you make the bases for the soldiers, I give them a grassy rock mix. So yeah, that's basically fine light gray ballast you would see. Unfortunately, there was too much in the mix. Now it actually looks cool in a couple of areas, but I did put too much, so I did go back and do a second coating. Let's see, is it showing up more? Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of rocky in there, which it's more than I wanted, so I may go back and put a third coating in there. So, yeah, and obviously when it's on camera at that angle, it probably looks a little worse than when you're standing and looking down because the camera shifts the angle, so all the little white rocks look closer at that angle than when you're standing looking down. You know, everything gets compressed. So it's just rocks. But there's a couple of areas I can go through before you get to the Lüneburger Heide, and they do have a kind of a rocky area. That area, it's like Toledo. We have a lot of clay and we have a lot of rocks in area in Toledo because we were once a swamp. And so as they dug out the Appalachians, as the glaciers did, they just gradually strewed the rocks and crumbled it. And so we have a lot of rock and gravel as well as very sandy terrain up in this area. But yeah, I just put too much in. I wanted a few to show, but you know, the problem is I don't have a recipe. I eyeball it. I just go, okay, no, maybe a little more, a little bit more. And I shake it up and you go, oh, that's okay. And then when you sprinkle it out, it's like, oh, wait, that's way too much. Yeah, built a camp, will sink into the... Built another castle. That sank into the swamp. Built another castle. That burned down, fell over, and then sank into the swamp. But the fourth one, laddie, that one stayed, and it's now the strongest castle in all of England. Hey, Sir Dwight of Curly, how are you? Yeah, Efo, I'm getting there. You know, it's not going to be done overnight. Let's face it, I haven't done a damn thing for 5 years. Now I'm moving on, and I want to get the basic ground cover all the way around the track, even where I have the green paper here. That's got to come out, and I'll put the actual ground cover in, which I'll probably do. I think I want to do this stretch beginning tomorrow. I'll probably take all this paper out and do 5 to 10 lanes across and just get this stuff done by next week. And then I want to put in some static grass. And again, this will be weeks, months, and still years. This will be a long time before I get there. But I haven't done a damn thing in 5 years, so I'm progressing. And but there are still things that need to wait. You've been working on that damn scene for 2 years. Yeah. Well, that's at one scene, but it's been 5 years since I really did any scenics. I did some... Well, let's go to that camera. I ballasted this area, which I regret now. I really want this, but I can still go back and put some green scatter on this. But I ballasted this back in 2019 and 2020, going all the way around into Delmenhorst Station. And that's the last stuff I did. That's the last bit of work I did. But, yeah, I don't know if there's a camera. I don't know if this one, I mean, I could turn on my phone cam, but I don't know if you can look back there. It's kind of hard to see my big jug of glue, my spray bottles, some cleaning wipes, a couple of bags that are filled with scenics, and then I've got about 8 different bottles of scatter. You know, the Woodland Scenic shake cans. I got a bunch of them. They just left. All right, let's go DB view. Okay, apparently I took out the correct car. Oh, that sounds cool, Dirk. Hello, Sir Ian from King Fox Junction. You just continue to have adventure after adventure. I hope you're well today. Well, let's see if I can do this. Video Ninja. Back camera. Connect. Alright, let's see. Oh my gosh, why does it suddenly go bad as soon as I turn it on to OBS? But here is my homemade blend mix, because I always give it the red cap. And then this is my light brown stuff, but I need my dark brown. There's the little black I mix in. This is my mix, and you can see too much rock in there, so I've been slowly mixing it with this stuff and this stuff to take the rocks out. And then there's this guy waiting for me to find the screw and fix it. I got this the thing in this, the video on this is great until I connect it to the computer. But yeah, that's so I like to blend and mix stuff. I really do like to blend and mix and really find the color I'm after based on, you know, because some of that stuff goes back to my wargaming. Some of that stuff I've had since my wargaming days, and then some of that is stuff that I picked up when I first started building this layout, and Ballas did the Delmenhorst side. But now I want to do that as well as I have the tough part, which is doing this section. That's not going to be fun. So I think the next section I'm going to do is this strip right here and maybe go most of the way across. I'm not going to go all the way across because I haven't decided if I'm going to leave that as a stop or take it out. Because that will determine whether it's just going to be ballast, all gray ballast, or if I'll put grass in it. If I'm going to leave it as a stop, I'll put some ballast down in it. And if I'm not going to leave it as a stop, I'll just make it all grass and mud. Because that's the one thing I really, I've started to watch some videos on, is making dry, wet look mud, if that makes sense to you. It's dry, but it looks wet. And I don't want to use the Water Scenics water stuff. I just, I'm trying to remember what I did as a kid, a teenager, when I used to make World War I trench scenes and was like doing Passchendaele and that with the deep mud. You know, it would have the soldiers bogged down in it, the British soldiers bogged down in it when I was doing dioramas. And I did something that made things look, they were dry and hard, but they looked like wet mud. And I never used the water scenery stuff. Well, Jean Ricard, I'll tell you what. You build a layout and have your train stop at the station, and then we'll talk. It was a trick my mom taught me, and I don't remember. And I see nowadays people do it where they'll put brown turf down, whatever, and they'll put you know, the water scenic stuff on it, and they make wonderful. Like all I got to do is go watch a couple of Andy from Moreland Model Railway. He's got some great videos from a few years ago where he did a diorama and made mud. So if I really want to make true realistic mud and go through the effort of making a rather large area of it, I just got to go watch his videos and then multiply by 10, increase exponentially all the ingredients he did. Yeah, that's how I was, Dirk. You know, as an American kid, I went through all kinds of phases where I was into the Civil War, into World War II. But World War I was into a lot longer, and I still, my friend Christopher, we like to talk World War I a lot. And then I got into classical and medieval warfare, and I moved on from the Greek and the Roman, hoplite warfare, phalanx warfare, the Roman legion and mandibles, and so forth. And I just came back up into medieval warfare, and that's where my passion lies. And it's a nice crossover because I'm huge into Lord of the Rings, which is basically early medieval era style of warfare plus magic. Although that's one of the big misconceptions is magic is not used militarily very much in Lord of the Rings. Gandalf uses magic in an offensive capability once, and that's when they are marching to Moria and they get attacked by the wargs, and he casts a fire spell around the trees. But when he's getting ready to confront the Lord of the Nazgul at the Battle of Pelennor Fields where they're attacking Minas Tirith, they never fight. So whether he was going to use magic there or not, we don't know. And of course, in the movies, they have the Ghost Army show up and win the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which is not what happened in the book. The Ghost Army fought a different battle where Aragorn was able to get the ships, which he then sailed up to save the city of Minas Tirith, and so on. But it's just one of a million things Peter Jackson got wrong. Because maybe you should read the books. World War II secret German programs you obsess over. I get that. I mean, I went through that phase. But I am huge into military history, and I just bounced back. You know, once I studied and was really big in the Civil War, then it was Napoleonic warfare. And then I got big into, I wanted to learn about the lesser wars, like the Crimean War, the Boer War, the various colonial wars. Because everybody knew about, you know, everybody was into World War II and everybody was into the American Civil War or whatever. So I moved on, you know, and then I got into the English Civil War, which is why when Joyce and I went to the UK in 2022, especially when we were at York, there was a whole bunch of battlefields I wanted to go to. Unfortunately, I needed to rent a car, and I wasn't comfortable renting a car because there was no easy public service out there. Like, I wanted to go to the Battle of Towton. And see that battlefield. I still wouldn't mind going to Baden Hill, Bosworth, from the various English Civil Wars. The Wars of the Roses. Not to mention Sharky. I don't know. You know, they're supposedly working on a version of the Silmarillion, but Rings of Power, although critically somewhat successful and it has its following, even the Tolkien people who loved the movies, and there is a divide among Tolkien fans. Those of us who thought the movies were visually wonderful, but were basically crapping on Tolkien's written work. And those who, oh, I read the books and the movies just like the book. And it's like, what were you smoking that you think the movies are just like the book? The only thing they got right in the movies are the names. The Lord of the Rings movies are about as accurate to Lord of the Rings as they are to Dune. And I'm not talking the Dune movies related to Dune. I'm talking Lord of the Rings movies. The Jackson's movies are about as close to Lord of the Rings as they are close to Dune. You've driven past Bosworth. Yeah, I just want to see these places because I've read about them. And Towton, which is the bloodiest day on English soil. I'd like to see that. There's always a truth to that, Leslie, but there are some movies, I mean, you can never fully recreate a book. You can never fully recreate a book because of time compression, and there's just so much more detail in a book. And so I understand things get left out, or things that happen in 3 different conversations get joined into one conversation. I don't have a problem with that. To me, it's getting the history of the novel correct. For example, a couple of years ago, was it just last year, they released a new version of Erich Maria Remarque's novel, All's Quiet on the Western Front. There's one from the 1930s, which is is relatively true to the books. It, you know, obviously, again, compression, blah, blah, blah. but it stayed true. Then there was an American made-for-TV movie starring Richard Thomas, John Boy from the Waltons, which also very true to the spirit, the theme, and the history of the book. But the one they released last year or 2 years ago was so not. It was like they just took the title of the book and made their own movie. They added, like, half the movie is stuff that's not in the books, where the director's like, well, this was going on, and I think this scene is boring, and therefore I just want to throw this instead and kind of explain what's going on. You don't have to explain what's going on. The story explains what's going on. You don't need to add, and I think that's a problem in Hollywood more today than ever, is directors who feel they need to put their interpretation of the work. Like, you know, Peter Jackson didn't get to write Lord of the Rings, so he made his Lord of the Rings. He didn't make Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, he made his Lord of the Rings. And I always have a bit of an issue with that, where somebody feels they can take somebody else's work and change it because they see it differently. In my opinion, you always have to respect the author's vision. You always have to respect the author's vision. That's not necessarily a popular viewpoint, but that's how I am. To some degree, you have to respect the author's vision of something. That may be so. That may be so, Ifo. I mean, we are a world that more recent events seem more important to us. And there's nothing wrong with the people that are 40 years younger than me. Because, again, when I was a little kid, the World War I guys were still alive. My grandfather fought in World War I. So I had secondhand connection. My grandpa fought and could tell me what he saw. And we met people that fought in the trenches. Now, yes, these men were in their 70s, 80s, and into their 90s when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, but they were around. Just like the guys that fought in World War II were just hitting their 40s and 50s when I was a little kid. My dad fought in Korea. So we have a connection. We have a connection. Sometimes you live in a city in Belgium or something like that that was heavily affected by World War I. So that connection is stronger. But if you're living in Podunk, Iowa, and you're 16, 17 years old, yeah, why would you have any interest in World War I? Other than your history teacher tries to explain to you that its effects in the world today. You know, and I'm usually a person books over the movies, period. Read a book rather than watch a movie. But on the flip side of that, there are exceptions. There are times where I think the movie did a better job than the book. Alan Moore would hate me for it, but I think V for Vendetta, the movie, is mostly better than his comic book. I think they took a very erratic and look how clever and psychological I am mishmash of a story Alan Moore created, and they made it much more cohesive and meaningful. There are things I still don't like what they did in the movie, but to be honest, I enjoyed the movie V for Vendetta over the graphic novel. All wars are hell, indeed. Yeah, my grandfather didn't talk a lot, but he did say some things. Because a lot of the guys that won't talk, they'll talk to friends. Like, the best things I could learn about World War I is when my grandfather ran into a couple of his buddies he fought in the trenches with. And then they would talk to each other. And then you would just sit there and take mental notes. And mix it in with what you were seeing in movies. Yeah, there's visualizing a book, but regardless of how you visualize the book, there are certain facts, there are certain events, certain things that take place in that book that are not about you visualizing it differently than me. You know, if you're going to, for example, the movie Braveheart, okay? The movie Braveheart with Mel Gibson. The Battle of Stirling Bridge, okay? We consider, and those of us who know say, the Scots didn't wear kilts at that time. And we can talk about everything they got wrong in the movie. But to me, that's visualization, okay? That's visualization. But the fact is, the Battle of Stirling Bridge took place at a bridge. And in the movie, and the whole point was how the Scots tricked the English army into getting about half their army across the bridge and then ambushed them and wiped them out because the British couldn't get their army across the bridge. And so when you do that in movie and you don't include the bridge, which was the key part of the Battle of Stirling Bridge, that's a massive error. That's something, it's not about visualization. That is, you got it wrong. All right, Robert, take care. See you later. Hey, Sir Greg, hello. Yep. Oh, well, congrats on the 45th wedding anniversary. Yeah, and that's, you know, I had uncles that fought in Vietnam, older cousins that fought in Vietnam. And yeah, they did not talk much about it. My dad didn't talk about his time in Korea. Again, the only time you heard anything is if they were with somebody else who was there. And then they would open up a bit because we who were not there, to them, we couldn't understand. Only people who were there would understand. Your biggest gripe for Tom is wrong era or country. Yeah, the problem is sometimes in movies, see, that's again where you kind of have to let that go because finding those cars is sometimes hard to do. And even if you can find them, the people that own them do not want to let you mess with them. You know, you're doing a big war movie and you need 20 Tiger tanks. Well, there's only a few out there. So you find something that there's more of and try to make it look like a tiger or look like a leopard or, you know what I mean. Your ex refused to talk about 1985 to 1992. Interesting. My thing is I'm too willing to share. I will talk about things because I have found for me it helps exercise the demons. "45 years, that's awesome. Joyce and I will be at 38 in 2 months. I've been on this camera long enough. Let's move on. Just in time to catch that ICE. And Monday's your birthday. Wow. Anniversary and birthday close to each other. No, when Joyce and I realized we were going to get married, the first thing was June wedding. We were going to do a June wedding. That was the old-fashioned tradition. Maybe tells you a little bit more about us. We were going to have that June wedding, and I actually wanted to have it outdoors, but the Catholic Church doesn't do weddings outside. But we had a very traditional wedding. Other than Joyce wore high top tennis shoes under her wedding gown. Yeah, Ray, I agree, and welcome in Sir Ray Bertelson. I agree. You know, come up with new ideas. Stop remaking the old classics. Now, just going back, one other thought. Here's an interesting one. All right, the famous movie Apocalypse Now, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Of course, is based on Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Now, they changed the river, the continent, the situation, but that movie is relatively extremely true to both the theme and the emotional history of Joseph Conrad's book Heart of Darkness. It's a wonderful adaptation. I remember my high school English professor, Dr. D. Markowski, we read Heart of Darkness in honors senior English, and he showed us the movie. It had just come out on secondary market, VHS, and he showed it to us. And wow, it was really easy to, okay, this character's right, this character's right, this character right. Oh, they even did the natives shooting arrows at the boat coming through, the little short arrow bolts coming through. They even added that scene in. Obviously, they did everything Vietnam-related, more modern technology, but they were true to the heart of the novel. And that's, to me, along with, you know, getting the history parts right, getting the what the author's trying to say correct. And I thought Apocalypse Now did a great job with that. Raymond is just singing away. Well, he's happy. Don't interrupt him. When your nephew had a wedding, some were drunk before 12. Fortunately, nobody on either side of our family is really a heavy drinker, so we didn't have anything like that. There's a couple of exceptions. Joyce had a couple of brothers-in-law, but they always saved it for the evening. But yeah, we got married early in the afternoon, and then the reception was later in the day. Like, we were married at 1 or 2, and the reception wasn't until 6. It was just when we could book things. the church didn't have anything later, and the hall that we could rent didn't have anything earlier. So some people came for the wedding and not the reception. Some people came for the reception and not the wedding. Still, we had a decent crowd. Emptied a load of vodka bottles. Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting, Leslie, because I too have autism and ADD. I have ADD. Joyce has ADHD, but I have autism and ADD. But because one exception is I can have a very strong memory for books and things, but there are other things I can't remember. I can be very bad with names. I can be very bad with casual dates and stuff like that, and who was. But if I talk to a person on a certain day, I can see them 10 years later and tell them exactly what they wore and exactly what they said 10 years later, and I've done that to prove it. I did that to impress an artist here in Toledo when I was hanging around with the art crowd after my book got published. Because you have to mix with the art crowd. Then the writers and the painters and the sculptors. You always meet somebody who wants you to meet somebody else. And I talked to this woman one day. She was an artist, and we had an interesting conversation. This came up with... because I won't say I have an eidetic memory. I don't have an eidetic memory, but there are some things that I can just, my brain cut and paste, and they're digitally recalled easily. And she came up to me. I met her at a book show like 3 years later, and she says, "Remember when you said you could remember?" "Yeah." "Do you remember the first time we met?" And I said, "Yeah, it was here. You were wearing this blouse and this leopard print skirt and these shoes and blah, blah, blah. And we talked about this, and this, and this." And she was like, I said, "And the only way we can prove that is if you remember that time." To see how accurate my memory was. I did, Raymond. I used to suck badly, and every now and then I'll still miss my cues, but I partly because I'm on the lower end, I'm not high on the scale, but I've been able in some degrees to teach myself the cues enough. I think that's something we're going through with some other things, but yeah, I would do that even as a teacher. I would see a couple other teachers talking, I'd run right up and start talking to the other teacher, totally cutting off the conversation they were having, and then apologize, like, "Oh crap, I'm sorry. I'm trying to teach myself not to do that." Yeah, Mel Brooks movies, I think he scaled down. I think beginning with High Anxiety, he started, History of the World, part 1 had some great parts, but also I think had some really lame parts. Spaceballs was good, but I also felt there was a lot of just tired, repeated jokes in that one. Robin Hood Men in Tights I thought was just mostly bad. But yeah, Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein are just absolute classics. And I always compare those two because they came out around the same time. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which to me is funny. But Life of Brian is a better movie than Holy Grail. But Holy Grail I laugh harder at. Life of Brian's great. And it's a better made movie, but Holy Grail is just so off the wall. And I do the same thing. Blazing Saddles is hilarious, and it's so off the walls. Young Frankenstein is a better overall comedy movie, better produced, so well done. Just an excellent acted and played out movie. And still a lot of off-the-wall jokes in it. But for some reason, Blazing Saddles tickles me more. Oh, I've done that, Leslie. I've gotten the weekend wrong and gone somewhere, showed up and go, oh, it was last week. Or the not so bad, it's Friday night, like, oh yeah, tomorrow's the show, and one of my kids will say, Dad, the show was last week. We wondered why you didn't go. What? Hey, Chase, welcome in, Sir Chase. Glad to have you here. You're going to the Bristol show on the 3rd of May. You're marshalling. You'd rather watch a Matt Clark movie. Well, I appreciate that. I would never be so arrogant to think Matt Clark matches up to the great comedies, but I do think there's a lot of great stuff in Matt Clark, especially that everything has to be vocal. You know, it's not animated, so there's a lot of jokes, I think, of like, no, that's a visual joke where people would actually have to see it. You know, you have to do things where people's, I have to work a lot on, like, just odd sound effects. If I want to try to paint a picture in people's mind. Otherwise, it has to be all verbal jokes. And to keep a story from getting boring, and yeah, I suppose Matt Clark has scenes and stuff where it drags, because it's all narrative. Out-of-date language. Yeah, we got Monty Python in 74, 75 as soon as it was released to the United States and on PBS. Our local PBS channel played it 11:30 Friday nights, and we would get, so in 75 we were getting the 69-70 series. So we were about 5 years behind, 5 to 6 years behind. But I had already heard about it. Yeah, tomorrow is Wacky Weekend. That's the other show. This is just my plain old live stream where I run trains and annoy people. Saturday, I annoy people and don't run trains. But see, I like this here, if I can point it out. I did add some small tufts of grass, but I like to have the different blends because different grasses have different colors, and it creates, it's uneven, it's choppy. And once you add the static grass, it really blends together to create a more realistic scene. Now, mind you, I probably won't have static grass on that for at least a year. That's interesting, Raymond. I mean, I like shows like Allo Allo. Heck, I even liked Are You Being Served? Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean was a space alien. And if you go back to the start of Mr. Bean, he clearly is beaming down like the Terminator. He is clearly beaming down. The bit of light shows up and he crashes on the ground. So either he was beamed up and messed with, or he is an alien trying to figure out human ways and not doing so well. Yeah, that would be Jeremy Lloyd, Dirk. Jeremy Lloyd wrote a lot of things. And, of course, I know Jeremy Lloyd because he was just an up-and-coming comic. But he has he has guest appearance in 3 Beatle movies. Jeremy Lloyd can be seen as one of the club dancers in A Hard Day's Night when the boys run off to dance at the club before their manager chases them down and sends them back to the hotel. Not the casino, but the nightclub where they're dancing. Jeremy Lloyd's in that. He plays one of the customers at the Indian restaurant when they're trying to chop off Ringo's hand, ordering the soup and everything. And then he's on the bus in Magical Mystery Tour. The writer of Keeping Up Appearances wrote Last Summer of Wine. Okay. I just know Summer Wine was Roy Clark. Okay, there you go. Now see, you say Roy Clark, I think the American guitarist who is also one of the greatest guitarists in the world but never gets credit for it. Mick mentions Faulty Towers. I'm in a minority. I think Faulty Towers is funny, but I don't think it's as good as Monty. It's a different type, but I don't think Faulty Towers is as good as many other British shows where many people say Faulty Towers is the greatest. I think it's good. There's a lot of shows I think are better. There's Christopher back. And Sir Jeff Hammond of Flint Hills is here. Welcome in, sir. Yeah, Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin, and they brought that back 20 years later. And again, I like both series, but I kind of like the original a little better. Oh yeah, well that's, that's why Cleese left Monty Python. You'll notice there's only 6 episodes in the last season of Monty Python, the last series. There's only 6 episodes, and he only appears briefly in a couple of them because he had quit. He didn't want to do the 4th series. He felt they should have stopped after 2. But he did the 3rd series and then refused to come back. But there were a couple of skits he had left over, so he came in and did those with the series. But that was it. He had quit, even though it was never public. Faulty Towers caps the British for the British. I get that, but I hear that a lot, Andy, that, well, Americans don't get British humor. And maybe that's true of all Americans, but I grew up with as much British as well as German stuff that I feel, to a degree, I get British humor. There's some regional humor. But, I mean, I just don't think Faulty Towers, the jokes in Faulty Towers were as funny. Even if it's a great series, which it is, I prefer, there are other things I thought were better. Whereas a lot of critics say it's the best British sitcom of all time. And I'm just like, well, I can think of sitcoms I find funnier. It hits you harder. Fools and Horses. WKRP in Cincinnati was good. I like Sledgehammer a lot. Married with Children was good as long as Steve was the main. Once they brought in Jefferson, because Steve left the show, to me it started sliding downhill. And just became repackaged, tired copy of itself. Well, yeah, Gordon Girls is a period piece, and I just could not. I didn't watch it. Of course, in the early '80s, I was watching the young ones. You know, MASH, which was a drama comedy. But MASH was well written from beginning until its last couple years. I thought its last couple years, it really got stale. Although it wended. Now, see, I'm one of those Americans. I think Cheers and Friends, the American Friends and Cheers, I never saw why they were popular. When I was at university, everybody was watching Cheers and going off on how awesome it was. And I didn't get it. I didn't think Seinfeld was funny. I never thought Seinfeld was that great of a show. And yet, everybody loves Seinfeld. We all have our taste. But, yeah. Hill Street Blues, as a drama, yeah, it was very good. Was Seinfeld supposed to be funny? Well, it's listed as a comedy, Leslie. That's all I can say in all the in all the references. It's listed as a comedy. But yeah, I remember seeing Jerry Seinfeld as a stand-up comedian long before he became famous and thinking he was pretty good. But by the time he became famous, really big, and then got his show, I didn't think he was funny anymore. Alleged comedy. But, you know, we too often live in a world, I'm a bit of a modernist, and we too often like the good old days, and you can't do this anymore, and you can't do that anymore. You know, the good old days weren't that good. The good old days weren't as good as our memories like to make them. Unless you got a good memory. Oh, Dave Allen is brilliant. Well, hello, Sir Joel of Eisenreich. Hello. But I think that goes both ways, Leslie, that people forget that there's a fine line. But that's why where one person tells a joke and a lot of people laugh and other people get offended. Because right now we're living in often sensitivity. In other words, people are getting offended that people get offended. Oh, you can't tell any joke anymore. Somebody gets offended. Well, somebody always was offended. They just felt too abused and put down to speak out and say, hey, those jokes about me and my type aren't funny. Maybe they're funny to you and your type, but they're not funny to me. And so, you know, a joke that is funny to one, you know, can be too connected to a tragedy for another. Well, ever since I took that one car out and put the other one back on, we have not had a uncoupling and bit there, so that's looking good. All right, good night, Mara. Yeah, I was probably on my soapbox doing a lot of preaching today, but it happens. Probably because of all the crap that happened right before I went live. Took me out of my narrowing view. I'm more combative and argumentative than I might normally be. Yeah, they're actually Athearn. They're Athearn cars through Rivarossi. And of course, Rivarossi also released some through AHM, I know. But these were all Athearns released. Athearns released, but made by Rivarossi or supplied by Rivarossi. But, you know, the thing is, it was just one. I had this one car, and the car behind it was uncoupling. So I took that car off and put another car on. It uncoupled. I took the car that the others were uncoupling from, I took that one out and put the other one back on, and it's working. And they all have the same couplers. So the thing is, let me grab the one car that was being guilty of a problem. Not you. Not you. So let me show you why I think this guy was the problem. Even though originally I was taking the other cars off, but they were uncoupling from this one. And when I finally left them both off, this one uncoupled. So let me show you. This was jerry-rigged. I did not do this. This was jerry-rigged. But I don't have any... So I don't know if you can see that. Well, let me get the large screen. Sorry about that, guys. So it had broken off the coupling, and the previous owner mounted it here. So it does not have as much play. So I think going around some of those curves was just too much for this coupler to handle, and it was letting go. And the only reason it was staying coupled on the other end is the weight of the car behind it was pulling it. And once I took that weight off, this one didn't have enough pull to hold it in place. So you can see that. That is jerry-rigged. But it was working. It was working in practice, so I let it go. But, yeah, I probably need to replace the bogie. Unfortunately, the two cars that are junked also have broken bogies. So this was, all I could do was take the couplers that were out of this and put the horn heads in. And like I said, it was working until today. So since I've taken this car off, everything else is staying together. And this is the only car that has this. So it's about this being jerry-rigged. And I think it's nothing more than there is not enough play. Because if you look at the bogie has a lot more angle and play. So I think this going around the radius 2 curves on the inner one, or those, I think those radius 2, I think that was just too tight a curve, and the play in this just couldn't handle it. So I think that's what it came down to. All right, Clintonville, I'll look for that. Yeah, Chris, I wish I could say I haven't watched reality TV. There's a couple of shows that I did watch, like American Pickers, which is technically a reality show. I watched that for a few years, and then it got old and repetitive. But yeah, I don't watch any of the contest shows or anything else that's labeled reality, because it can't be reality when it's scripted. You know, you got to draw a fine line between that. Why am I having you guys stare at my ugly face? Yeah, nobody's there, so. You watch this guy, he comes up the ramp, and then right about here, he starts to go, oh, this is quite a load. I'm not used to carrying it. Get up, get up, get up. Okay, I've got it. Yeah, I mean, when we talk about genres, reality TV, well, let's face it, a lot of sports feel scripted anymore also. I can't watch the NBA. I used to love to watch the NBA, but I haven't been able to watch it in 20 plus years simply because there's no rules anymore. It's like, yeah, this guy carried the ball, but because it was a fancy slam dunk, and the referees call fouls based on who they're pissed off instead of enforcing the rules. It's just too much of a joke. Baseball has gotten that way, and the commercials. They got to find a way to stop the games all the time to get the commercials in. College football games used to last less than 3 hours. Now they're 4 to 4.5 hours, and they keep changing the rules of the game to speed it up. So there's like 10, 15 fewer plays in an NFL or a college football game today than there were 40 years ago. But that's because there's 5 more minutes of commercials every half hour than there were 30, 40 years ago. It's commercial. Well, stop the game, go to replay. Let's go to a commercial. Okay, there's a timeout on the field. Let's go to a commercial. We have a TV timeout. Let's go to a commercial. You know, it's just, if they would get rid of the commercials, the games, you could play by the old rules, and the games would still be over faster. It's like YouTube. It's like YouTube or even Facebook or even some of the games I play on my phone at times, which I rarely do. When I'm constantly getting interrupted for advertisements, all it does is make me hate that company. Especially the ones that, like, you click skip and then it goes part 2 of the commercial. Skip part 3. Skip. Oh, okay. And like on my YouTube channel, I am monetized, so commercials will be there, but they're also putting commercials on non-monetized channels. But be that as it may, I have mine set to the lowest so that they're supposed to be skippable after 5 seconds. That I don't have any you have to watch. And there are some channels I watch where, you know, they've got, oh, you got to watch all 15 seconds or all 30 seconds of the commercial before our video comes on. But I haven't, but YouTube gets around that because sponsored commercials have to be played at least 15 seconds, whether I want them to be skipped or not. YouTube finds loopholes to get around. If you take over the world, yeah. And I don't know. I don't know why companies put so much into advertising, because television advertising does not, and YouTube channel advertising does not bring people to your product unless it's a new product. I mean, I can name all kinds of products that are making millions and millions and millions, and yet they don't advertise. You know, McDonald's probably releases one new commercial series every 2-3 years now because they realize, yeah, everybody knows there's a McDonald's, and every now and then we'll just remind you. We'll come up with something clever because our sales are down. All right, Dirk is taking off, all right? Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us. You buy Hornby, that's a gamble. I only gamble on things I can control. Like if somebody bets me whether I can do something or not, and they take the opposite of my opinion, I'll do it. But I won't bet on somebody else because I don't control that situation. Hey, I'll bet you this guy falls down. You know, it's like, nope, I'm not going to make that bet. That's why I don't bet on sports. When I worked in the prison system, when I was a teacher in the prison system, we had a psychiatrist in the prison that was tinfoil hat convinced, and he had the charts. He had the charts to show in his mind how NFL games were rigged, how every game was rigged. And this is going back to 1986, 87 when I worked in the prison system. He was just convinced that if you looked at a point spread based on the reality of the records, based on this factor and that factor, you could predict who would win the game and by how much. And he was always showing, like, here, watch the Monday night game. See, that was my system working again. And I was always like, then why aren't you betting? But that was also where I began to realize that just about every psychiatrist I've ever met was as crazy as the patients they were dealing with. Sorry to any psychologist out there. I have found that many psychologists and psychiatrists are messed up or more messed up than their patients. I don't know, Leslie, I get British commercials and German commercials because I've traveled and because I'm on sites that feature those countries. But I can't say too much, but I am living proof that the YouTube algorithms do not work, that the Facebook algorithms do not work. Because according to their algorithms and data, I am this type of a person, and they couldn't be more wrong. And I get ads for that stuff, and it's like, that is not me. I don't know why you think that's me. And I've even, why am I seeing this ad? Well, based on your data, blah, 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 you would have this as an interest. Oh, no. No. Well, hello, Brad from Willow Creek. Welcome in. Your new station gets there on the 28th. So that's Monday, if I'm not mistaken. I know, Leslie. In fact, sometimes I think because of the people that own YouTube, Google, Facebook, or Meta now, because of their personal leanings, they throw these ads at you anyhow, like they're trying to convert you to their side. It's like, I'll watch a bunch of soccer, baseball, and football YouTube videos, and so I'll get ads for golf all the time. It's like, why are you advertising golf to me? I don't watch golf. I've never watched a golf video, blah, 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 blah. Well, based on the fact that you like sports, we thought you would like golf. No, why don't you advertise baseball, soccer, football, and football to me, or related things, Celtic football, rugby, No, you're giving me golf. And that's an example. I'm not saying that actually happens. It would become political and social, and we don't want to get into fights here. Oh, wow, Chris. Try we touch it. Hello, Sir Andy of Dobson. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, the stuff that related searches. Like, I will type in, but I get that same thing on eBay. I will type in ICE4, related search. Death of Batman comic, number 464. You know, how's that related to ICE? It wasn't even Mr. Freeze who killed Batman in that comic book. How are you giving, you know... How is this related to my search? Amazon will sometimes help. The problem with the Amazon is the way this whole stupid world works is I bought some rugs for my living room. For a month after I bought my rugs, on Facebook, on YouTube, related searches on Amazon were giving me rugs. I'd already bought the rugs. I don't need more rugs. I've bought rugs. And bam, we just bought 2 new love seats for the living room. So for a month, it's been furniture ad after furniture ad after furniture ad. After I just bought something, I'm probably not going to buy it again. Hey, Sir Alan Reynolds, how are you? Yeah, I probably should just... Hey, there's Dino. If I missed you earlier, I apologize, my good friend Dino. I hope you're well. Dumb people writing dumb algorithms. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. But the thing is, it's not even dumb. There is a, in my opinion, devious nature to it. It's also scary that I didn't buy something online and all the online people are suddenly advertising what I just bought to me. Well, Chase, that's the one thing. YouTube can't make you watch them. They cannot make you watch them. You choose to click on it. But by golly, if you happen to click on one, you're going to get 10,000 more like that. Because that's the bait and hook, you know? That's how they get you. They'll throw all these odd ones and you go, oh, that's interesting. It's no difference than all the people who put sexy women on the front of their videos, because the majority of people searching YouTube are going to clickbait, right? Trust me, I've tried for years to get Joyce to dress as a French maid for an episode. Watch my membership and numbers go right up. Hey, Sir Brian, how are you? Yeah, that's what it is. It's clickbait. And some people do it on purpose because they know you'll click. And it's clicks. The more clicks they get, the more YouTube will play their video. However, if somebody complains about you or your video, then you might find that your videos aren't showing up in people's selections. But I mean, lately I've been watching Time Team. Joyce and I have just been watching episode after episode of Time Team. Every now and then there's somewhere like, oh, we were near there. And we're going back to the UK next year. Yes, I do have an American train, Brian. I bought the Baltimore and Ohio because I'm an Ohioan. Why not? There's even a reason that my YouTube colors are, it's a double combination. My YouTube colors are scarlet, gray, and white. My logo is scarlet, gray, and white because Ohio State. See, if I keep my arms like this, people might think it's an Ohio State shirt, and then I go like that. Oh, it's a Model Train Outsider shirt. Yep. I threw away your Rose toy. But yeah, I felt I needed to get an American train. I need to get an American train, and this just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, so I bought it. I paid $35 for the Loco, and I have 11 cars, of which 7 are currently running. That I was able, out of the 11 cars, I was able to get 9 that work, but apparently it's 8 that work, since the one was acting up today. No, Brian, I didn't. I don't know anything about American rail history. I know what may have run in my area. We're on the, you know, we had the Detroit, Toledo, what was it? Detroit, Toledo, Indiana rail line that went through here. I think Chesapeake and Ohio went through here, and I think Baltimore and Ohio would come through Toledo at times. But I wanted an American train. I really want a modern era. I want a modern era, something that is currently running Amtrak, preferably with a charger on it. I want a charger, but of course I got to have it 3 rail. I suppose I could get it 2 rail and run it down there, but if I'm going to get that nice a train, I want it on the upper level here. Mallard derail. Uh-oh. I just checked you, and as soon as I put you into motion, you derail. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Has it? Well, the thing is, I'm doing, yeah, Greg, I want a very modern, I want something that I would see running in 2025. I am a modern era guy, despite all these older trains I'm running. I am still, my preferences for modern era. Yes, my Baltimore, Ohio is like a 1940s, 1950s thing. Obviously, I have the Mallard because these are just classic trains that well, at least the Mallard is a classic locomotive. But I am truly a modern era guy, and I would say at least 70% of my stock is Era 5 and Era 6. Anything mid-90s to now. Well, welcome, Corey. How are you, Sir Corey? The problem is it's about money. I need to buy something relatively cheap. And again, I would prefer to get it 3-rail. I'd prefer to get it 3-rail. I know they're out there. Plenty of people run them. But I'm looking for 3-rail. I don't want to buy a really expensive American train to run down here on the floor. I really want something that I could run on my main layout. Then I'll spend some money on it. But it's converting it to 3-rail. This is where I miss MTH, because MTH did make some things for the Märklin system. Yeah, and a Silo would be good. And a Silo would be very good. So yeah, it's got to have that ski. Got to have that 3rd-rail ski. Indeed. Although I'm retired, so every day is Friday. I work 2.5 days a week, or 3 half days a week, however you want to look at it. I babysit my grandson on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then everybody comes over on Sunday, which usually means I usually am babysit my grandson, although lately his aunt has been playing this one game on a computer he likes to play, and he'll go and spend time with her. And he dumps Opa like a hot potato. Lizzie, can we go play the house game? Sure. Bye, Opa. You got a bunch of Phase 3. Let's see, Brian of Clintonville, he just explained to me that I always thought Phase was the same thing as era for my European trains. Like Phase 6 was the most modern era, but he says, no, that's livery changes. And Phase 6 is the most modern, but it's really livery changes and not time period. Because I've seen trades that it'll say Amtrak Phase 2, and I'm like, Amtrak wasn't around in Phase 2. That's between World War I and World War II. And like, no, okay, it's their second phase of livery. And there are European companies that make Amtrak locomotives. Companies that make 3-rail stuff. But they don't make their American stuff in 3-rail. Now, Kato makes things for a German company called Lemke. At least I think they're German. They could be Austrian or Swiss, but I think they're German. And Lemke releases them, and Lemke just released a whole bunch of modern era liveries of Amtrak locomotives. They didn't release the cars, the coaches, but they released the locomotives, including an Asila, or Asila, an Asila, and the 50th anniversary livery, the all-black livery. Oh, that was you, Greg. My apologies. Because both you and Brian from Clintonville come up as phone numbers, and I did. So I just see a phone number and I go, oh, it's Brian. So that was you who texted it to me, Greg. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I've been confusing you and Greg with some of the text messages. But yeah, you were the one telling me about the Amtrak. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, Märklin did make an Amtrak. I could buy it if I had $500 right now. I could get the locomotive with the F unit and the rake of cars. Well, $600. So, all right, you've never texted me. See? And that, my friends, is old age kicking. You've only emailed me, so it's only Greg texting me. All right, maybe I'll remember that now. Because I swear a couple of them, I thought they were you. Because, because Clintonville, you're the one who put me on to Scuderia. And I swear I got a text from you about that. But those have all been Greg's text. Hello, DJ Scania Rig Rider. How are you? The seller. Yeah, well, I'm not Bostonian. Where you take R's out of words and stick them on to the end of words where they don't belong. We're going to park the car. And then we're going to go wash and go to this, and then get my handsaw. Yeah. Tell Brenda to use the blender. Yeah. Hey, Senator Bonnie, welcome in. Yeah, see, that's the funny thing. Anymore, when I see a word like that, and I don't think of it as native English, I go to immediate German pronunciation because of me speaking German, or even European. Asila. And then, okay, would they stress the first syllable or the second syllable? Asila? Oh, it's Asila. Oh, okay, whatever. Broke the soft tissue and ligaments. Yikes. That's not cool. Yeah, I had a professor of German in university who made fun of my accent and called it the Toledo accent. I was like, I've never heard of a Toledo accent. Just the way you guys up there say your A's and that. I was like, ah. But then when I studied linguistics, I talked to a professor in linguistics about the Toledo accent. He says, no, you just talk funny. I blame it on my grandparents and aunts and that from the old world. Learning German and various dialects of German, and then trying to learn English at the same time screwed me up. And then my mom being she was born in Wyoming and grew up in Tennessee. And a lot of her family, her relatives were from down south and get that southern accent. Because it's funny, my mom would have a very non-accent, but she'd go out west or down south to visit family for a couple of weeks. And she'd come back and it was like, who are you? You're not my mom. My mom doesn't talk like that. And then over a couple of week period, it would fade. Boy, that view is just a lot better. I'm not saying it's good. It's just better now that it's not brown and pink showing. Come on, 181. Up, up. Well, you know, the thing is, the Minnesotan accent is no different than the Canadian accent that gets stereotyped and parodied all the time. It's that border accent, because from Maine to the Maine and Vermont, New Hampshire area, even parts of upstate New York, even the Yoopers in Michigan, Minnesotans and Wisconsin, they all have that same basic accent, which we often make Canadian. You know, we call it the Canadian accent. What are you talking about? Oh, I do that a lot, Greg. In fact, we'll do it right now. We'll just watch the freight train. So notice this is camera 1. So now the freight train is coming around the corner. This is camera 2. And here he's coming into station. Camera 3. And now things will go a little wonky. Because this is actually camera 15. This is camera 13. Camera 4. Camera 5. Camera 7. Camera 6. Camera 12, because it got added later. Camera 8. Camera 14. I can't say that my numbering system's very good, but you got to remember I had 9 original cameras, numbered 1 through 9, and then I added more. And I just didn't want to go back and over. So I think I'll stick a camera here. So it's either renumber all the cameras or just say that one's camera 14 now. And now you can see it went right back up. But yeah, we can follow it through. It's just don't count the cameras because that gets confusing. It's hard to believe my very first live stream I had 5 cameras. The very first live stream I ever did, I had 5 cameras going. Because I didn't start buying cameras to do live streams. I was buying cameras to get views I couldn't get sitting here watching my trains. So I said, wow, that's kind of a cool view coming up. You know, go back up to the top. That's kind of a cool view coming up the track there. I can't stand there. There's a wall right there where that camera is. I can't stand there. But that's a cool view. But if I had a camera, hey, I can see it. And then I had a couple more cameras. And then when I, out of the blue, decided to live stream in 2020, because, yeah, I think we're coming on 5 years now. 5 years without a stop. I haven't missed a day. My numbers are a little off because early on I actually live streamed a couple of times a week, and then I picked Friday at 3 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock UK time usually, and 9 o'clock continental Western Europe time. But yeah, so I had 5 cameras up just because there are places where I couldn't see the trains from those angles and thought it would look cool to see trains from those angles. And then when I live stream, and the first channel I remember was Barnabas Junction from the UK. He had 3 cameras going, and I thought that was cool, which inspired me to get my first camera. So that's one way Barnabas Junction inspired me. Was, but again, I didn't do it because I wasn't live streaming. I just thought it was cool to have a camera in a place. He had this shot of trains coming into an underground station, or however it was done, where there's no way he could get that shot anywhere on his layout. He just stuck a camera there, and he used to talk about it. I said, that's a great idea. I like that idea. I'm going to put cameras in places that I can't get to so I can have those views of my layout. So I can sit here and watch my trains come by this way. And Ryan Hall is live. That means trouble. Hey, Grisha Karat. Or Grzyek. You'll have to correct me on some sort of phonetic pronunciation, but welcome in, willkommen. Bienvenue. Bienvenidos. I now declare you a knight of the rhomboid table. If you have a channel, Mr. Rat. Yes, we are running an ICE4 today, along with a Czech EC. And then over in the 11 lane, everybody's out of it right now, but there'll be a couple of guys coming in. Hey, SG Bay Media, what is the locomotive? You mean sit next to me here? Where are we at? Hi, dear. This little locomotive right there, that is the Märklin, and there's the famous ski. This is Emma from Jim Knopf und Lukas der Lokomotivführer. Jim Button and Luke the engine driver. This is Emma, the sentient locomotive, which I had running in my classroom with my students towards the end of my career. Everybody loved Emma. I even showed them the movie when it came out towards the end of my career. And now my grandson plays with Emma. So, all right.
That was your middle child trying to reach you on those phones.
No, it was.
She said she was trying to get a hold of you and had several, kept call, because she tried to get a hold touch with you.
Oh, what'd she need?
She forgot her phone. She's got a two-set authentic thing where it sends messages to her phone. So she's like, I need you to read the code. She's had a rough day. So, anyway.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I was getting ready to go live.
I know, it was right before. She just wanted you to run up and get her phone and give the code that was on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She made it all right.
Sorry, she's having a bad
But
day.
she's
All I
like-
see is Broadband North.
Yes.
And I didn't see the phone number. I would have looked at it and said, that's Buckeye, and maybe wondered, why is Buckeye calling me?
Right. And then her friend Emily called you. So, I mean, they were trying to get in touch with you.
Well,
That's what
unfortunately, by that time, I'm down here setting
know.
everything up. I couldn't have...
Yeah. So, hi, Tom. Hi, Raymond. I'm waving at you, Andy.
Hang on,
Hi.
you're not on camera yet.
I know, but I can still say hi. So, hi,
No,
Leslie.
you can't. People have to see you. The public
Hi,
wants
Great
to-
Northern. Hi, Valley. Hi, Colin. Mick. With a wave there. Hi, March West. That's an Andrew.
If you're new to the
Hi,
channel, this is
Digger
my
Evans.
wife Joyce, who joins us about this
Hi,
time every
Tom.
Friday after she gets home from work.
Hi, Chester Railway. Dino.
The old TV show with the puppets is the real
SBJ.
thing.
Hello, Clintonville. Anybody else I missed? Hi to everybody. So, excuse me, burp there.
Yeah, the puppet show. So, welcome in Freitag. It is Friday, so you're appropriate. Hey, Steve Childers, welcome in. Sir Steve of Childers of the Retirement Railroad.
Hi, Steve. Hello, Lee.
See, we can't say that. Only Toledoans would get that. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi,
Yeah,
Steve.
You're right.
It was a local commercial for 40-some years. Hi, Steve. It was Steve at Car Stereo 1. Hi, Steve. Hi, Steve. Hi, Steve.
Yeah.
So anytime we meet a Steve, we just go, hi, Steve, and then we go,
Yeah, snicker, yeah.
snicker, yeah. Try to hold back that giggle.
Right.
In fact, dare I say, perhaps even a chortle.
Perhaps.
Perhaps a chortle.
Perhaps a chortle.
Not quite sure if it's a snicker, a giggle, or a chortle. We'll have to go to the rule book. And the ruling on the field is chortle. Speaking of ruling on the field, Liverpool needs to just tie tomorrow. I think they play tomorrow. Or is it Sunday again? La-di-da-da,
Did you
da-da-da-da.
Did I see a sprat? Came in?
Crystal Palace is all like, Liverpool, you could thank us because we tied Arsenal, which basically tied you for the win. It's like, no, Liverpool wins. We didn't need you to do anything, Crystal Palace. We just have to win.
Right, that's true.
And we're going to win the league. Nope, they play on Sunday.
Okay.
Tottenham on Sunday, so that's the game. So it's Sunday.
Okay.
I'm
It's
sure
Sunday
Mick was
game.
already typing in a correction.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, see?
So, yeah.
Sunday. Well, I'm in Australia, so it's Saturday for me. Can't use that. Speaking of Saturday, Wacky Weekend will be on this channel.
Yes.
Will be on this channel. Because if you followed last week's episode, Artie is still locked up. If you were at last week's Wacky Weekend or watched it on replay, Artie is still incarcerated for his coke abuse.
Right. That's the story.
Not the drug,
Yeah.
not cocaine.
Yes, right.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, don't start those.
But if he gets out, he could return next week. Saturday, we'll have to find out. But right now, he's still currently locked up.
Yep. Champion.
Champions is right. And that's what I want. The league title means more to me than the UEFA Cup or anything else. Win the damn. That's why, as great as Klopp was as a coach, he frustrated me because he always found games to blow and let freaking Man City take the
And
cup.
it was Pepsi
Or even
Max.
Chelsea.
Yeah, no white powder.
No white powder.
Yeah.
Nope. It was Coke. Artie, with Artie being off the net, he developed a Coke problem.
Yep.
A Coke habit,
Yes,
dare we
we
say.
have all that intel, so. we will
Unfortunately,
share
I
some with
can't.
you.
Because
Yeah.
he's incarcerated, I can't talk to Artie direct. He called me out and asked for bail, and Joyce and I had to tell him very bluntly it was tough love.
Right.
That we bail him out, and he just goes out and buys another 6-pack or 12-pack, and he's gone again. And we just can't
Right.
foment that kind of self-abuse anymore.
Yep. So
We tried to
it's
turn-
all love and.
I mean, all the empty 2-liter bottles and 20, 500 milliliter bottles under the bed when we were there, hidden behind the couch in the kitchen, trying to get his rabbit to chew him up and hide the evidence. We turned a blind eye to it, and I think we regret that after our trip to Australia. Maybe we could have intervened sooner.
Yeah, we maybe coulda. Coulda, shoulda. Why are you looking very green over here?
Well, it is March, and that's the month of...
It's not March. We're almost out of April.
It is in my world.
Hi, Andy. Pneumonia with a smile. Yeah, that's right. Lee would go for champions too. There now, Jackie. Oh no, Lee's the one who doesn't watch them.
Yeah.
I got that backwards. Sounds like your house. Yeah.
No, Jackie's celebrating. Lee's just... Well, I am from Liverpool.
Tolerating.
I am a Liverpudlian, so I can claim it. No, you're an Everton boy. You don't get to celebrate.
You're not allowed to.
You're not a real... I may not have been born in the region, and you live in that area, but I'm more of a Liverpool fan than you are.
Tad warmer than that, Andy, but then cooling right back down. So we are.
Yeah, we were 27, 28 Celsius yesterday.
I turned the
Today,
air
more
on.
like
It
24,
got-
25.
It's muggy enough. I just turned the air on.
Upstairs,
Yeah.
you closed all the windows. Yep.
Of course I did.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Ryan
the
Hall.
toffee.
There's storms in Texas. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joyce is a Ryan Hall addict.
I don't think addict's quite right, but
See,
watch
denial. This is why you can't help these people.
okay.
You are
Is that bad?
a weather junkie.
Okay.
Are you not?
Glad you're here, Chesty. Yeah. Weather nerd.
Oh,
That's a
Chester
better
Trades
term.
is here. Hello. The
Yeah,
other
working
dirt.
in the background. Still at
The
work.
other dirt. The other white meat.
That's right. The other dirt.
still at work and have to work a bit yet.
All right, well, we're glad you're listening in.
He's been posting I just can't keep up with. Everybody is now posting shorts, and I can't keep up with them. I'm sorry, I can't keep up with your shorts.
Trains.
Joyce complains about that with the laundry. She can't keep up with my shorts.
Yep. Actually, it's the shorts, but that's simple.
Oh God, you and those sheets. You bought them. Had you bought the ones I wanted?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. I didn't want those shorts or those sheets. Shorts, sheets. I didn't want any of it. What are we gonna do about dinner?
You know, I was thinking pizza.
All right, sounds good.
It's raining.
Jets, or Pizza Hut, or a Marco's. Whose pizza? Woman, tell me whose. I can't stand all this.
Well,
I need to
think
know.
We had Jets last.
Well, my thing is I'm getting bombarded. I got friends, and so I don't want this to sound too much like a complaint, but I've got friends that some are posting 8, 10 shorts a day, and you multiply that by 6, 7, 8 people, I just miss a bunch.
Yeah.
I miss a bunch. I don't have time to actually go back. Every now and then I miss somebody's video because my computer feed, which doesn't separate shorts from video.
Yeah.
So I will have 6 shorts from that guy, 5 shorts from this one, another bunch of YouTube shorts from this channel, blah, blah, blah. And you know, like just the other day, the band OK Go, because I like the band OK Go, they put up 20 shorts in a day. That's like, how many shorts did they put up? Even Model Bon Shop Lippo puts up 2, 3 shorts a day. No, see, I'm the opposite. I used to hate Pizza Hut pizza, but around here, the last 10 years, their quality's really gone up. The one that's gone downhill was Little Caesars. I used to like Little Caesars when I was younger, but nowadays it's nah. And then, what's the other one? Papa John's. We boycott Papa John's.
Well, and I don't like the sauce either. So
And their sauces got nasty. I used to like Papa John's, but we started boycotting, and then we decided, all right, maybe we both wanted pizza, but we wanted something we hadn't had in a while. And we ordered a Papa John's, and it was like, oops, something changed during the boycott. So Mick says he's fitted an HM 7000 to 2 locos. Yeah, I saw that, Mick. That was really cool. There's a lot of people who posted some cool stuff. If I catch a short, I'll try to watch them, and I might say, hey, nice series of shorts you've done here. But I feel like something came up on YouTube that said, hey, post shorts to increase your views on videos, because everybody's doing it. And I'll admit, I did a short, but I usually do a short with my...
Yeah, it's very different, isn't it? The Chicago Deep Pan.
Oh,
Deep
Chicago
dish.
Deep Dish is... We've had all 3 of the proper ones. And there's many others we haven't had yet. We've had all 3 of the proper ones, plus a couple. And I avoid the argument of which one's better. I like all 3. But I can go to Chicago and decide I want theirs instead of theirs this week. And then the next time I go to Chicago, I might say I want this one instead of that one. The complete opposite. They're all good. If ever you get to Chicago, hot dog. Well, you are the hot dog pilot.
Yes, you are. Come here for a few days and we'll take you to Chicago.
Lou Mahala's pizza or nothing. we used to have some great restaurants in Toledo, including the Mafia place. Dominic's, not Domino was the chain. Dominic's was local. That was the Mafia restaurant. Ooh, they had good pizza. Yeah, because you gotta make that food right for those Mafia boys, or you might be wearing cement shoes. Giordano's, yes, Greg. Giordano's is very, very good.
Yep.
And Giordano's actually will sell it to you pre-made but not cooked. But it's like, I think their small is $80 to get here. And every now and then we joke about let's do it, and then we don't.
Yeah, we haven't pulled the trigger, so to speak.
Oh yeah, Ray, I get that. People do it to get the clicks. That like Big Boy, and then you watch the video and there's no 4884 or whatever in the video. Like I said, we were just talking about that with, you know, I had some history video. Oh no, it wasn't a history video. Joyce and I were Googling Luxembourg City, YouTubing Luxembourg City. We wanted to kind of see what's in the city because we're deciding whether we're going to go down to Luxembourg City just to see it or not. Because on our trip to Germany, we're in Koblenz. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes to Luxembourg City. It's like we'd go to Luxembourg City for a day just to say, hey, we've been in Luxembourg. But we like to get a view ahead of time because it's not one of the cities that's on my checklist of cities I want to go to. But it's close enough because we like to go to places just to say we've been across the border. That's why when we went to the UK, we really weren't interested in London. No offense to all you Londoners, but we weren't so interested in London. We spent a couple of days in London, but our goal was a week in Wales, a week in Scotland.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack.
And then Liverpool and York. Liverpool and York, and that was it. Oh, Jackie's not feeling well. Well, hi, Jackie. Sorry you're not feeling well. I know this is a tough memory time as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Dirk, I actually remember that. I didn't know he was your friend, but I remember that. There's a couple of books about people that went to all the different baseball parks to order food, including multiple visits where they updated the book and said, okay, like they went to Old Cleveland Stadium and then what was Jacobs Field. You know, so when they replaced the old stadiums with new stadiums, they would update the book. But Toledo Mud Hens is the only place where you can get a Tony Paco's Hungarian hot dog for all you MASH fans out there.
Some rail fan videos on the German trains. Great Northern's suggesting.
The thing is, when we're in Germany, we will film the station. And we'll hang around at the station if we have time, or while we're waiting for a train, we'll film trains coming and going. But we're not looking for rail fanning sites. If an opportunity comes up, for example, we got up one morning in Hamburg, our last trip, and our hotel was looking straight at the Hamburg main station. Jean Ricard, if he's still awake, might remember that. But we looked out our window and I filmed some trains coming in, regionals coming in and out of Hamburg Hauptbahnhof. And it was very cool.
Yeah, he knows. We took him to get one.
But that's the thing. Because we're into trains and then we travel to Germany, people think we're doing everything train related. It's like, no, we're traveling to travel. We do travel by train, so we're at the stations a lot. And I will go to some model train shops. But I will occasionally video at the rail station when I have time. But I don't go to places and say, hey, I'm just going to stand here for a couple hours and catch trains. We usually don't have that kind of time. We want to go here and be there and do that.
We're always on the move. Oh, wow.
Yes, we took Artie there.
October
Andy.
28th. October? May 28th.
May 28th, we're off to Germany.
know.
May 28th, we'll be in Germany. Actually, May 29th, we'll be in Germany. May 28th, we're leaving.
We leave, yeah. 6 hours ahead of us, so...
Yeah, because you got Hamburg Altona, Hamburg Harburg. SJB, Hamburg Harburg. Most people I know that let trade say go to Hamburg Harburg to really catch them. But we used to stay in Delmenhorst, which meant we were only a couple hours down the line from Norddeich Mole if you really wanted to see trains. They say it's the pond, but it's a big bloody pond. Yep.
He said, while you're riding the trains.
What's that?
He said he meant when you were riding the trains.
Well, yeah, and again, I take a lot of scenery shots because, you know, if you're on a train and, for example, we were just the other night, we were looking at what trains we're going to ride. We're on an ICET twice, an ICE4, an ICE3, and then an unknown for our main trips.
Right. Busy.
But, yeah, the problem is when you're on a train, when you're on the train, trains are going past each other. It's
Yeah.
especially on those ICEs.
All
All right,
Jesse,
Dirk,
take
get back
care.
to work before you get in trouble.
Right? Be sure to watch my YouTube shorts.
Yeah, I have only been to Hamburg Harbor. I've only been through it once. Although technically we're going through Hamburg Harbor twice this year. Because we're going through Hamburg up to Lübeck, and then we're leaving Lübeck and coming back down to Hamburg, so we will go through Hamburg Harbor.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
But I like rail fanning, but it's not really rail fanning. Train spotting, but it's not really train spotting. Train observation. Whenever I'm in Hamburg, I go up to the second level to get out. And when you stand up there on the balconies or the parkade and look down and see all those trains, you know,
Yeah, you got
Czech
that right.
ECs, Austrian
Metronomes are there.
ECs, Hungarian ECs, the local traffic, the Deutsche Bahn ECs. You just got all those lines filled with trains from all over. Metronomes. So I love to just go up there if we're not in a hurry to get somewhere. Joyce will tell you, I'll stand up there and just look for a while and look at the different trains
Yep.
and try to figure out where they're from. Or she'll ask me. I
was
remember
gonna say, I
once
look with them. Yeah.
we finally figured out it was Polish. It was a German and Polish ICE
Trying to figure out what it
EC,
was. Yeah.
Euro City. But I didn't know at the time. We had to look it back up later, and it was a
McDonald's.
Polish one. Yeah, to be honest, right in front of the McDonald's is a good place to view, though. Although, of course, we avoid American fast food
We do.
when we travel.
Yeah, we have plenty of it at home. We don't want it elsewhere.
Yeah, we try to eat local. We try to find the nice little mom and pop shops. We try to avoid chain restaurants. Whether it's a German chain or an American chain, we like to find the little family, quickie places. And usually they're wonderful. But the other places like Munich, I love, but Munich is so wide, it's got so many more lanes.
It does. It goes
But,
way
you know,
on.
I still have one of my favorite pictures is we were in Munich and there's a railjet over here, but then you have an ICE3, ICE1, ICE2, and ICE4. You had all four generations of ICE. They weren't in order, but they were all right there with a
He
railjet
was
over there.
Very excited.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
like a schoolgirl seeing the Beatles. I was just, oh look, there's an ICE3 and an ICE4.
Yeah.
At like the first time I saw a railjet live, because I'd already bought the railjet model, but then we were in Munich and saw the actual railjet. I was like, I'll be back, honey. Goodbye. Soon.
It was.
I was on that trailer. And, oh my
Yeah.
God! Look at the seats. Oh, railjets were so nice inside. It was the first class section of a railjet.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fomer is it.
I
The
remember.
Freiburg train station was actually kind of cool because we had to walk up and you have this footpath you walk on, but you can look down and see, because Freiburg actually has several rows.
Yeah, it does.
Bremen, on the other hand, is no fun to rail fan because when you're on the platform, you usually have a train in front of you, and it's mostly regional stuff, and you don't see them splayed out because you go through the tunnel to go up the upper sides of Bremen, so you don't really get a
Yeah,
good
you
view of all the
don't,
trains
right.
there.
You don't have that good upper view where you can look down
Berlin
and
is just funky. The Berlin Hauptbahnhof is just funky. And I say that in a good way. But you got 5 levels, 4 of which have trains. S-Bahns are at the top, regionals, then the high speeds are down low, and then the subways.
I enjoy looking at them too. So
Yeah, yeah, early on, once I was into model trains, whenever we went, well, honey, what's that train? I don't know. Honey, what's that one? I don't know. Well, you're into the trains. Yeah, but I'm still learning. I don't know.
Aw,
Oh, that sucks. See,
That is
that's the
awful.
problem. You guys know that.
yeah.
You guys know that
Well,
stuff. I
is
mean,
a
that was
terrible way to.
that.
Terrible way to
I
go.
won't give away her business, but unfortunately, Jackie is heavily connected to the tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie is heavily connected to that tragedy. And the fact that it took so many years to uncover that it was a police error and a police cover-up, and the Liverpool fans got bad-mouthed for years and years and years when it was the local security, I don't want to necessarily say police, but the police investigation covered up the security, where it was a security error. But yeah. But yeah. See, and the thing is with Liverpoolians and maybe even a lot of UK people, Americans are probably watching this. Go, what are you guys talking about? But all you had to mention is this has been a rough anniversary in Liverpool. They know. Those people know. The event was a football match that Liverpool was involved in, and there was an error which led to basically, think of the Who concert in Cincinnati in 1979, where people got pinned and crushed against gates, and originally 96, but now I think they've added some people to the death toll, and so it's like 97, 98 people now officially acknowledged as having died from the crush. But they blamed it on the Liverpool fans being out of control, and it wasn't. It was security screwed something up and forced all the fans into this area that led to the crush.
Yeah, Lee says it's 97.
97 now, okay.
Mick too.
And Mick says it's 97 as well. Yeah, because you usually see the banners as 97, yeah,
Okay.
the 97. So, yeah, UK people know about it of an age, but most Americans, but at this time of year, because the anniversary was just this past week. But, not to be too dismissive onto the happier things, we were talking about the trip to Germany. Dresden is a pretty train station. It's kind of cool, but you don't really get to view.
Yeah, you don't have a great.
You don't get a great view of the train.
I mean, you're on the same
Munich?
level as the trains. It's open, but it's the same level.
Munich, Hamburg, and Frankfurt is great. Frankfurt's got a lot of open viewing, and Frankfurt's got so many train lines, and so you'll have 2 different trains on the same platform at times. So yeah, Frankfurt's a fun one. And we do have some German rail fanning videos on our channel. You just got to go find the video where I train spotting in Frankfurt or whatever it's called. We do have some where we talk, and on Joyce's channel where we have videos of our Germany trips. Because if you don't know, we have been to Germany many times.
I don't think it's Potsdam or Platz, where you can look down 3 levels.
Well, yeah, if you count the subway, Potsdamer Platz has 2 subway levels and a streetcar level. But the new main Berlin station, which opened almost 20 years ago, I think it was 2005
I don't
it
think
opened.
it's new anymore.
Yeah, it's not that new anymore.
The big.
Well, that's the Cleveland Browns. They got that new stadium 20 years ago, and now they want a new one.
Another one. Yep.
And they want people to pay for it.
Yep.
You got a new one 20 years ago. Live with it.
Yeah.
Hey, Randall, you made it to Springfield.
Good. Safely, I hope.
But Stammer Plots has been remodeled multiple times, 3 times that I can remember, where they were remodeling it for the new subway lines. And they've opened another subway line over there since we were last in Berlin, because we haven't been in Berlin since 2016.
Yeah, sure remember it well.
Because we've never gone to Berlin since we stopped taking students to Berlin.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2003 to 2016, we went to Germany every year with students, and then 2017 we had to cancel the trip with students because we couldn't get enough to go. But Joyce and I already had the money put aside and said, well, let's go. Let's just go ourselves. And that was the first time we ever traveled without kids since our honeymoon.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, we did do the whitewater rafting without the kids a couple of times.
Yeah, short trips, but yeah, it is a great rail fanning country.
It's great. I mean,
railroad country.
Innsbruck is a nice train station to really see a lot, but of course that's special to me because you see a lot of Hungarian, Czech, Italian, as well as Austrian rail jets and that. So Innsbruck was nice. Salzburg was a cool station. Vienna Hauptbahnhof, well, Vienna is huge.
Yeah.
We've only been there one time. We've been in and out of Salzburg a lot.
Yep.
Did we leave? We didn't take any train trips while we were in Vienna, did we?
No.
We stayed in Vienna.
We stayed in Vienna.
We just were in Vienna, so it was subway. Subway or walking. We walk a lot. We have never, all our trips to Europe, we have Australia and the UK, we have never rented a car. Now, we did steal Artie's car.
Yeah.
We did steal Artie's car and forced him to accompany us places.
Oh, you're the Kronbacher.
You run out of Kronbacher? Well, you know what? That's not a bad second, Mick. That's not a bad second, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about Urquell, but I like Urquell. I think it's really good. Stuttgart Hauptbahnhof is being converted underground. Yeah, we were just in Stuttgart in 2023, and our trains got bypassed. We did arrive at Stuttgart, but our train to take us to Salzburg was supposed to leave Stuttgart, and we had to catch it at Esslingen instead.
Right.
And because they changed the route, they changed the train number. And we went to Deutsche Bahn and said, hey, you know, technically it's a different train now. We need to re-reserve our seats. They said, no, your seats will be fine, your seats will be down. We get there and 3 different people had one of our seats reserved. Us and 2 other people.
Right.
And so we worked it out. Unfortunately, some ways I wish we hadn't, because that was the train Miss Perfect.
Yep.
You're so wonderful.
Yeah, when we were going to Berlin before the main station opened, we would go to the zoological.
It was Westkreuz.
Yeah.
It was now it's called Berlin Westkreuz.
Okay. That's the one we knew,
and then they opened the big glass one.
Very impressed with the new one.
2006 was the first time. So 3, 4, 5 we went to Westkreuz, and then we got to see the big glass one, and that was whoa. The one thing I'll complain about the new Berlin Hauptbahnhof, no sitting areas outside the food boutiques.
Yeah.
It's like, put a few benches here. Oh my goodness. I'd have anywhere from 15 to 18 students, all their luggage, and we just traveled, and we got another 45 minutes to wait for our connecting train to somewhere, and it's just, they're tired, and there's just nowhere to sit, and we just throw all their suitcases down and bunk out on the floor and sleep for half an hour or 45 minutes, or however long it was.
People look at them, why are they sitting on the floor? Oh, Most Law signed his new contract. Good.
Lee, did you think I wouldn't know that? Do you think I would not know that? They also just re-signed Virgil van Dijk for a couple of years.
Okay.
And they're trying to get Trent re-signed.
Oh, quit yawning.
But see, I have limited. I mean, you know, I see people like Leslie or CMD models that they have experience traveling everywhere. My experience is Germany. And I'm quite happy with that. And, well, yeah, the UK, because we did a lot of train stations in the UK.
Branched out a little bit.
We've branched out a little bit. We're going to Denmark, so we'll see Aarhus and Copenhagen.
Yep.
Train stations.
Yep.
Copenhagen.
Yes, we'll film that.
Yeah, I was going to wear my Mosala, but I'll wear it on Sunday.
Right.
I got an official Mosala jersey. Bought at Liverpool. Bought at Anfield.
At Anfield, yeah.
I even was just cleaning out one of my desk drawers and found all our pictures from Liverpool
Ah, okay.
with holding the trophies and that.
Mm-hmm.
Odense. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to get... I know we're not going to get to Odense. I think we might be going through it. But, see, we've been to Lubeck once, but I don't remember Lubeck's train station.
No, I don't either. Not at all. I just remember the gate. A lot of brick.
Right.
I'm
Yeah, the
looking-
Holston
I'm
Toll.
looking for marzipan place.
Right, looking for
We
the
walked-
famous marzipan
We
place.
walked a mile till we found it with the kids.
Which is funny because really it was right behind the main square. We just walked the wrong way and
Yeah,
then
we
came
did
back.
go the wrong way, yeah. Yeah, we went the long way. We were along the water.
But yeah, I mean, 90% of my travel's been Germany. But we've been to Innsbruck for a day.
For a day.
We
That
did
was a day
Salzburg for 3-4 days, and then Vienna for 3-4 days.
Yep.
And that's it for Austria. So we've been all over Germany.
We've been in Prague, the Czech Republic.
We've been to Prague in the Czech Republic. We've been to Svensko in the Czech Republic. Spent a day in Svensko
Get
on
the
the
Cahat
border.
folks off your back for a while after Fredo's win.
Aarhus, in the middle of our street, Aarhus. Let me see, let's do add. Oh wait, I gotta open it first.
Anyway, I was doing that. If you haven't hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like button.
Ah, Daisy. Gotta love that Daisy. I'm gonna share this just to. This is going to make some people go, eh, and other people go, lucky bastards.
Yeah, indeed.
But add.
With the 00 gauge
No, let's do it the other way. Let's just go here.
sledgehammer, eh?
Windows capture. Okay. Oops. Dang it.
Keep blowing, Daisy, eh? You make it bigger?
I'm trying to get me out of the way.
Okay.
I'm trying to get me out of the way. Yeah. The all the red hearts on this, the picture you're seeing, the white hearts on a red shield, those are places we've been. Those are places we've been. And then hidden amid some things. Why did you do that? There we go. Did you really just... Oh my god. Sometimes OBS, you're making me crazy. Yeah. So that is... All the red hearts are places we've been in Germany. The green shields with the white flag are places we want to go, and then the blue with white suitcases are our current trip. What we're planning on doing in our current trip. for all the jealous fans. Those Everton people. The people at Everton, they gotta know what a trophy looks like. So yeah, these are all the and you can see there's certain sections of Germany I have not been to yet that I need to get to. Some of these I've been through, like Magdeburg. I have been through Magdeburg dozens of times. I've just never stopped there. All right, Randall Ellison, you gotta go.
Okay. Take care, Randall.
Well, we're planning a trip, so we'll have more blue. We'll have more blue with the UK, because we are coming to the UK in 2026.
Yeah.
Will be our next trip to the UK, which will be a year from now. The thing is, I'm nagging Joyce to retire after next year, which she doesn't like. But if she does retire after next year, then we will come in October. If she doesn't retire, we're coming in June to July.
Take it you don't like France.
We would like to go to Paris, but the thing is, it's the connection. All my German relatives, I speak German. I've just, for good or for bad, I have a very strong connection. I mean, look at all the other countries. No Italy, no Spain. I would like to go to Budapest. But you'll even see Eastern Europe. There are so many places I still want to get to in Germany and even in Scandinavia that it's just...
Yeah.
There's just...
A lot of places. Not enough time. Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, Mick, that was one of Joyce's things. Well, the next time we go to the UK, we can go in October and go to Getz again. The problem is?
Work. And I'm not doing what we did last year. Yeah.
Because 2027, we've already promised Artie we're coming to Australia one last time. Because all these non-Germany trips prevent me from getting to all these German places I want to go, but there are places in the UK. The problem is there are places in the UK we had such a good time, we'd like to go back. We loved Cardiff. We could happily go back to Cardiff.
Yeah, we did.
But we want to go maybe Bristol, because there are some people in South UK we'd like to meet. There's
That's nice.
Roger from St. Blazey's World. We could get to him from Bristol relatively easy. Maybe get into the Cornwall area.
Not taking it, Mick. I don't need more nagging.
Oh, your neighbor made some gumbo and brought some over.
That's nice. So Buddha or Pest that is...
Yeah, I would love to go to Stockholm and a couple other places in Sweden. We do have a Scandinavian trip, but the problem is I'm already looking ahead, like, when are we going to do this, and seeing how old I'll be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 60, and I get around a hell of a lot better than my grandfather or my father did at 60. But, those long 5, 10, 20-mile hikes a day, aren't long. So yeah, so we'll be in Denmark. We're going to be in Denmark this year. We're going to spend quite a few days outside of Aarhus in a little town called Abeltoft with a crazy Dane named Jean Ricard. And then we're going to go to Copenhagen for 3 days. Copenhagen. Come to Barry, the Vale of Glamorgan. Oh, Chris, we can be talked into it. Like I said, we're thinking Bristol for a couple of reasons. One, it's easier to get down to the south and visit a couple of people down there. Go into Cardiff if we wanted to see Cardiff again. But also, Bristol has a Mrs. Potter's. chocolate.
Oh.
They have the other shop.
Gotcha.
The one's in Cardiff, the other's in Bristol.
Oh, all right.
Oh hell no, we're not going to the UK again and not getting more of whatever.
Mrs. Potts.
Mrs. Potts.
Lovely cake.
Yeah, the Matilda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, the best cake I've ever had in my life. Chocolate cake called the Matilda at Mrs. Potts' Chocolate House. Oh my God, that is. Give me the right target, it's to kill for.
Good stuff.
But we do like to see others, like, you know.
Yeah, we do. We like
I
to
mean,
go
I'd like to
around.
get to the southeastern part of. I'd like to get to the Kent area. I'd also like to get up where we. The only thing we know for sure is we're riding the Caledonian Sleeper from London to Inverness, and we're going to spend a few days up in Inverness, which will include a train ride, and spend a day in Glasgow. Or we'll spend 5 days in Inverness and come down for 2 days in Glasgow. But I don't think I want to do it that way.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And then from there, the problem is we could easily go back to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And if we go in October, I could catch a game. I think we're going to tie you to a chair and negotiate.
Don't guilt me into this.
Oh, I'm
That's
not going to.
not fair. You are too.
Yeah, maybe I am.
Yeah.
Well, the other alternative is brainwashing you into it. While you're tie you to a chair, and I'll do. Remember the book joke we did? Yes, $100 is fine. How to hypnotize your wife for fun and profit.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, finish the center of Carlisle.
But we also are going to stay in York again, or the York area again, because.
Yeah, we thought we'd do a meet and greet there.
And we want to do a meet
museum.
and greet at the York. A meet and greet. Hey everybody! Hopla!
Get ready to go to Rhodes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
If and ands were pots and pans, indeed. If. But anyhow, so we'd have a meet and greet at the National Railway Museum, and we'll try to do it on a weekend where it'd be easier for
Yeah,
everybody.
for people to
Because
go.
last time it was like on a Wednesday or whatever. Still, it was wonderful that many people came.
Indian's Wall is impressive. Those back gardens pretty nondescript. Okay. They needed to hire a gardener, didn't they? Yeah, York is very nice.
We had a nice
yeah.
nice place we stayed at in York. It was a 10-minute walk to the Altstadt, the heart of the old city.
Right.
Not an Altstadt in England.
When? 26.
Welcome to the York Altstadt, where we have all
In
these
June.
wonderful things. York
Yeah.
is beautiful,
We
and
will
we
certainly
enjoyed
let you know
walking
when
the-
we'll let you know when it's a lot closer. As you say, time flies.
It'll either be June or October of 2026.
According to the kids, I lost a student today.
Oh, really?
Isabella, she's a sweetheart. That's when apparently Zach and his girl have split up. So they said, nope, she's going to a different school. Like, oh, we got to 26.
wow. Oh yeah, Joyce loved Jorvik.
I did. What a cool tour.
Oh, Jorvik was awesome. We loved it. There was just a lot of cool things in York. It was.
Smell tour.
I mean, you know, we can't play favorites, but we found a lot of cool things in York. Enjoyed it all.
Yeah.
Liverpool was very cool. I mean, I will always have a special affection for Liverpool because I'm connected, Beatles fan and Liverpool Reds. Going to Anfield was great, but I want to go back so I can actually go inside and see the Kop. Because I bought a ticket and the tour was to include an on-field tour, but, this date, the tours are canceled because Elton John's doing a concert. And I haven't forgiven Elton John for that. The one time I'm freaking in Liverpool, he has to do a concert at a stadium. Go to a damn concert hall, you... The only chance I ever have to get into Anfield, he freaking has to do his concert.
I really enjoyed Jorvik.
Jorvik is the Museum of Farts.
The queue to get into Betty's. Watching people queue to go into Betty's.
We just walked through, like the one area that they said that Diagon Alley and Harry Potter was based on, or, photoshopped in.
It's one of the few places we were there where there was a bus tour where somebody was, had a microphone and was telling you about the area. See, now they're all recordings or non-existent.
Oh, and we did do one of the bus tours. It gives us a basic.
Yeah, it sure was fun.
Because the places I go to Germany, for me, are well researched.
Yeah.
I researched them out. This is why I want to go there. These are other things in the area I want to go see. When we went to the UK, the only place that was certain was I wanted to go to Liverpool.
Hi there, Attila.
Hey, Attila Varga, good morning to you. I wanted to go to Liverpool.
We need a sub together.
And then it was just pick other places. So we picked Cardiff. We're glad we did.
Yeah, we had a great time there.
And then we met Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Tim, I think, every day we were at Cardiff, because not every day.
First couple.
Well, we saw him the day we arrived, and then we went to Gloucester with him, and then
Gloucester.
even the day we left, he met us on the train.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he's only one stop up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. The day we spent with Tim in
definitely.
Gloucester was awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly why we picked Cardiff. But it proved to be beautiful. We fell in love with Cardiff. And then we went up to
52 pubs left.
we went up to Bangor, because Bangor was halfway between Carnarvon Castle and Conwy Castle, and a couple of other castles I wanted to go see. But we did Carnarvon and we did Conwy. And Bangor itself was a nice town. We stayed, we did Airbnb, and we had this lovely room by this lovely family in their house. And that was the only thing I'd say that was negative, is that, it was, we had a room in somebody else's house as opposed to a place to ourselves. And the walk uphill up to the house after a long day traveling.
There was not a lot of food options down in Bangor.
Yeah, there weren't any, bakeries and grocery stores in the area.
Places.
You really had to go, so you had to walk into town, which meant you had to walk back uphill.
Yeah.
But also, because it was somebody else's house, we didn't buy a lot of food. And like, you could come in here and eat, and the family's in here. And there's a certain time that they call quiet time, because the family's in another room, and so you got to be silent. And like, we're usually not around at that time anyhow.
Right.
It's just awkward to stay in a house where...
Right.
So we try to avoid that. Now, it's one thing, like Artie had us stay with him for 3 weeks in Australia.
Oh, it's different.
And we're going to spend a few days with Jean Ricard in Denmark.
No, that's very different.
That's different, because it's somebody you
People
know.
we know, as opposed to
So you can bitch at them.
people you...
But it was a
We're not going
lovely
to see
room. It was a
again.
large room with its
was.
own private bathroom, its own door out to a very lovely yard that had a medieval wall as a garden wall. It was very, very cool. It's awkward to stay with people. I mean, we had the same thing when we stayed in
Liverpool. Or no, London.
London, because the guy that the guy we stayed with at Liverpool, or not Liverpool, London. The place we stayed at in London was owned by a family, and Marcello, the son, was in charge of this particular building. The family owned a few buildings. And Marcello and his boyfriends were occasionally found in the We got asked by Marcelo's mother one night, why haven't you gone into the TV room? I said, well, there's usually somebody sleeping in there. And Mom immediately went and got Marcelo. Marcelo, I told you your boyfriends, they do not sleep on the couch in there because we have guests who are supposed to be able to go use that room, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there was the one time we got up and one of Marcelo's boyfriend was in the kitchen in the morning, 6:30, 6:45, in nothing but his thong underwear. And gay or straight, that's not anything I went to see when I first get up and go into the kitchen to get my breakfast. Joyce didn't want to see it either.
And he said, I sent him some kit to make an earwax bomb.
But yeah, Mom gave gave him an earful after that.
More of ours were good than bad, for sure.
Oh, we haven't had a bad one.
Right.
We've just had funny ones, awkward ones. We've enjoyed everywhere we've stayed. Some just had their little uniques. I mean, Marcelo was a nice guy. The people were nice guys. I just don't want to wake up and see somebody else in their thong underwear first thing in the morning, man or woman, to be honest, unless it's Joyce. Certainly not going to wear my thong underwear to have a contest.
Right.
I have a friend in Rome, you know. So, all right. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:01, which means we're a minute into overtime.
Yep.
If you don't like to be bored, you can go over to Dave's live stream. If you do like to be bored, you're going to have to go somewhere else because we're done boring you. Yeah, it's that time. Another Friday has come and gone. Another Friday closer to Germany.
Yeah.
So on that note, hey, we never saw our kid unless we missed it.
No, that's happening.
We might have one video coming out this week because we still got to do the one celebrating the 50th bit. So anyhow, I'm babbling for words here. We want to thank you all for being with us. We really appreciate it. All of you that come in, all of you who watch on replay. It's amazing how many views we get on replay. It blows my mind.
It does. Absolutely.
Sometimes we even double the number of views. We get so many people that come in, and then by the time the next week's come up, we've almost doubled. So many people watching on replay. That's something else. So thank you, special. All of you people are wonderful. Hey, there's K Guns. Take care, Kara, and Willie, Sir Willie, Lady K Guns.
Yep.
So anyhow, Auf Wiedersehen.
Tschüss.
And happy trains. Take care, everybody.
Bye.